Hi everyone, and welcome to TWF. Welcome to Rampage or Ram Through. I, Mike Lane here, with Tony Schiavone and Elijah Burke. And today on Rampage or Ram Through, we are going to see the TWF hard made winnings. Hard made winnings be on stake here today on Rampage or Ram Through. You got that right, Mike Lane. Tony Schiavone says we're going to see the TWF hard made winnings. You know, which is going to be on stake here today. And with Odo, I guess, or Bobo Fufat, however you say his name, Jeffro Bobot. I can't really, truly say his name right, Tony Schiavone says, but he wants to get back, the TWF hard-made winnings that he lost yesterday to Faith on Friday Night SmackDown, Mike Lane. I'll tell you right now, Tony and Mike, at the end of the day, I'm going to tell you how I feel about it. Shit. At the end of the day, Elijah Burke says, I truly believe, at the end of the day, Elijah Burke says, I don't really see a Jeffro Bodoff, or however you say his name. I don't see him, shit. I don't see him winning back the TWF hard-made winnings, from Faith here today on Rampage or Ram Through. I just don't see it happening. Elijah Burke says, well, here he comes now. Here comes Boba Ofot, or Jeffro Boba. However you say his name, Mike Lane said. I still don't really truly know how to say his name. Well, and the truth is that no one from the Disney, Lucasfilm, Star Wars side of things has ever wrote on our film saying, you're saying his name wrong. Tony Schiavone says, yeah, well, other words, be thankful you didn't run into what some like to call the follower boys or the follower girls out there. Because what they'll do is then they'll get angry at you, Elijah Burke says, for not knowing anything about Disney Lucasfilms or the Star Wars films or shows, and get mad that you're saying the name wrong, Elijah Burke says. Well, here comes Mike Lane says, here comes Faith now. Here comes Faith from Buffy the Bloodsucker, Hunter, and Angel. Mike Lane says, well, Tony Schiavone says, all we need now is to put the Fight Lord or the Match Keeper in the ring, and this thing is on. This is for the TWF hard-made winnings. First, she is from Sunnydale, California land, 4-1 Reich's Faith. And he is from Disney, Lucasfilm, Star Wars world. We don't know what homeworld he's from. Jeffro Boba. Now, Faith is the fighter, and you would say in a hard middle match that the fighter still has the upper hand or upside, but I don't truly believe they do, Mike Lane says. Faith right now is picking up a boat that came with one of the fighters from the Dollar Tree. Launched it, flew it right at his head, and down he went, Mike Lane said, boat first to the forehead. It's the first time I ever called a boat or a ship being thrown at a man's head. Mike Lane says, well, Tony Schiavone said, get work to it, because these things happen all the time. And if you watch XPW or ZCW or JCW, you'll see it all the time. Oh! That's right, Elijah Burke said. And if you watch ECW back in the day, from between 92 YL till 2001 YL, it was almost an everyday thing. Oh! And now Faith just hit Jeffro Boba, Tony Schiavone said, with the mint and the star from the Over Mario Brothers world. They came with the Over Mario Brothers toys that we got from 5 and Below not too long ago. Well, Faith is going to do it. I can tell you one thing, Elijah Burke says, Odo Bobot, just Jeffro Boba, body slammed Faith. And he was first bought from Walmart, and then someone ended up giving it away to the Glassport Thrift Middle, Elijah Burke says, which at the end of the day is not one of the beloved of the two thrift shops. And Faith got hit with the star and knocked down. Faith getting hit with the mint again and then got knocked down by it. And Odo, or I should say Jeffro Boba, right now, why did George Lucas and Steven Spielberg come up with names that are hard for folks to say? Elijah Burke says. But I can tell you one thing, Faith is going to go down. Faith just, oh, it's over. It's done. And now Jeffro Bobot hitting Faith with those wired fences or gates that came from the Dollar Tree. And he just landed, and he just hit her with them and then knocked her down. Now the sandbags, and Faith is getting beat up with sandbags, Mike Lane says, from the Dollar Tree. Oh! And it's over here. Looks like Jeffro Boba is going to become the new TWF hard-made fighter for the 2nd time, Mike Lane says. Well, we'll see if that happens or not, Tony Schiavone says. They can't do that in the NFL. They can't do that in the NHL, can they? Tony Schiavone said. No, ice players sometimes, they'll rough each other, they'll fight each other, but they don't do anything like that, Mike Lane says. No, they do not, Elijah Burke says. Jeffro Obot is just beating Faith here today. 1, 2, 3. Ding, ding, ding. Here is your winner and the new TWF hard middle fighter, Jeffro Boba. And now we gotta go clean up all the Well, I can tell you one thing. Elijah Burke says Jeffro Boba is now a 2-time TWF hard-made fighter and one of the very few Disney Lucasfilm cells to ever win something here in the toy wrestling gathering. Elijah Burke says he's my man, even if I don't want to say his name right. Well, Mike Lane said that's not true. Faith, who is from Buffy the Bloodsucker Slayer, and Angel, which were formerly news business cells, are now Walt Disney business cells, since the Walt Disney business, or the Walter Disney business, bought 100-year Fox from the news business, from the Fox broadcast business. So yeah, Faith is now a Walt Disney cell that way. Mike Lane said, yeah, you got that right, Tony Schiavone said. Some folks don't know it, but Buffy the Bloodsucker Slayer and Angel are now Walt Disney owned Farseer shows, which were now owned by Mutant Enemy or Shifted Fiend, Shifted Foe, Glee, which is now owned by the Walt Disney business, through 100-year Fox, which was formerly owned by the news business through the Fox broadcast business at one time. But anyway, we're not talking about ownership. We're just talking about Jethro Boba being the Star Wars self who become the TWF hard-made fighter, Tony Schiavone says. Yep. And I tell you one thing Mike Lane says. He's done very well for himself. Even though some folks are truly unhappy with the way that the Walt Disney business has running the Lucasfilms offshoot ever since they bought it. And their handling of the Star Wars films and shows and books and plays and film games. But anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about today, Mike Lane says. Take it away, Bob Walk. Thank you, Mike Lane. I'm here today with Jethro Boba, a Walt Disney Lucasfilm self, who has won the TWF hard middle winning for the 2nd time. Alright, Jethro Boba, you seem to do very well, and you're now a 2-time TWF hard made fighter. I told you I was going to win it back. No one believed me, Bob Walk. No one believed me that I was going to win the TWF hard made winnings for the 2nd time. Well, so I did. I did win it for the 2nd time. And what you saw me do out there, they can't do that in MLB. No, they can't do that in MLB. Not at all. The only utmost thing we ever see happen in MLB is when some catcher, runs too far, runs too far, ends up falling and landing and not getting the ball. Or when we see one of the players have a fight with one of the gamekeepers. But that's about it. Anyway, we're here to talk about you. You are now the 2-time TWF hard-made fighter. Yes, I am, Bob Walk. And I beat Faith, which I'll have the utmost onlook for. From one fellow Disney self to another, I have the utmost onlook. Well, how would you say they're both Disney selves? Because Disney bought Lucasfilms, which does the Star Wars films and other things. Walt Disney also bought 100-year Fox, which owned at one time Mutant Enemy or Shifted Foe, which include doing many shows as Buffy, Angel, Dollhouse, Serenity, Firefly, the Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. show, Followers of S.H.I.E.L.D. show, and many others. Yeah, that makes Faith a Walt Disney self now, like I am a Walt Disney self. So anyway, do you see yourself taking on all dares as a TWF hard-made fighter? Yes, I do. And it's going to be hard for anyone to take this TWF hard-made winnings away from me. Alright, Jethro Boba, good luck on being the TWF hard-made fighter for the 2nd time. Well, thank you, Bob. I'm Bob Walk, and back to you, Mike Lane and Tony Schiavone. Well, thank you, Bob Walk, for talking with Jethro Boba here today on Rampage or Ramfru. And it is all the time we got here for Rampage or Ramfru. I, Mike Lane, Tony Schiavone, and Elijah Burke. We hope you like Rampage or Ramfru, and we'll see you tomorrow for Collision or Hit.